I feel like I'm losing my mind here. Why is no one talking about this? Is it really because people don't want to admit that they're watching porn? Maybe it's just me. I could just be losing my mind, or perhaps the rest of you guys really can't see them. I should back up. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, normally, I live with my roommate. It always felt weird for me to load up a website and touch myself with the knowledge that someone was just in the other room. So, indulging in pornography is something I rarely do. It's no great loss to the world or anything. 2 weeks ago, however, my roommate took some time off work to go visit his parents a few states away. He left me half of his rent and bills for the remainder of the month and was gone. Suddenly, the apartment was quiet and lonely. We would always play video games or watch TV together, so it felt a little weird sitting in the living room staring at the way too big for our apartment TV all by myself. I was laying on my bed, bored. All the people I asked to hang out said they were busy with work or school, and nothing was catching my interest. So almost absent-mindedly, I lifted up my phone and navigated to Pornhub. It's not likely I was particularly horny or anything, it's just kind of where my fingers guided me. One by one, I looked at the previews for the videos, sitting in my bed fully clothed looking at porn on my phone when I was home alone. At the time, I didn't think of putting it on my TV. I guess that just would have been weird. Like I was putting extra effort into watching porn. Eventually, the scrolling lost its intrigue and I decided on a video featuring a pretty blonde. I clicked it and almost instinctively started turning the volume down before reminding myself, once again, that I was home alone. Sitting there watching the video, I was waiting for something to click in my animal brain that would allow me to actually enjoy what I was seeing. That feeling never came over me. In my defense, I was a little distracted. So, I wasn't immediately put off or anything like that, but as I said, it was very distracting. While the woman was getting her fix, I couldn't help but notice the man standing in the background. I almost hadn't noticed him at first. He was standing outside one of the windows, hiding behind a fern. The whole 10-minute video, he was just standing there. I ended up Chromecasting the video to my TV, just for the sake of getting a better look at the guy. I swear. Sure enough, it was just some guy you'd pass on the street. I started wondering if he just wandered by the house and was looking for a cheap show. Or perhaps this video was trying to elicit some kind of voyeurism fetish. Either way, I couldn't get anything out of the video. I couldn't stop looking over to the guy. He never seemed to move, like he was frozen in the frame, while everything else moved around him. What put me off the most was being unable to tell if he was looking at the action or the camera. I didn't like the feeling I got when I thought of him just staring at the camera, so I closed the website altogether and just called it a day. Another 2 days went by and I hadn't thought about the incident anymore after closing the website. Once again, the sun went down and with the lights off in the apartment, I felt isolated. It was pretty late and I wasn't feeling motivated to do anything, so I just laid on my bed, staring at the ceiling, letting my mind wander. While I'm not up to discuss just where my mind had wandered off to, I did start feeling some type of way. So less absent-mindedly than before, I searched for my phone in the sheets and guided the illuminated screen back to Pornhub. This time, I diligently looked for something that would help me get to my designated stop. Not to get too personal with you, but I found what I was looking for, and I only had to go to the second page. I held the phone in one hand using my thumb to make the video go into landscape, as my other hand unbuttoned my pants for surgical preparations. A rush of endorphins came over me as the video started up. The animal part of my brain had kicked in, and I could feel my other hand start to wander when that very same animal brain made me stop. You know, that animal part of you that is particularly adept at being aware of when a predator is hunting you. When your brain is picking up on something you're too distracted to completely notice. While the woman was boarding the train, so to speak, my eyes were wandering away from the action and to the background. Pulling the screen closer to my face, I noticed that in the closet of the room being filled with exaggerated moans, I could see a figure. This time it appeared to be a woman, judging by the fingers she had gripping around the closet door, slender, with red painted fingernails. Quickly I navigated the video to see if she was supposed to be the part of the act, but throughout the whole video, she remained in the closet. Her fingers didn't move so much as twitch. I know most videos are chopped up versions of longer videos, but they always showed the end, the money shot. She was still in the closet. I minimized the window and scrolled down to the comments. There were links to other websites and spam accounts, people making stupid jokes or talking about how perfect her tits were, but nothing about the woman in the closet. If there was one thing you can count on when watching porn, it's if something weird happens in the video, people won't shut up about it in the comments. Feeling like I was missing something, I went back to the homepage and tried to use the categories to navigate to a video. Maybe I stumbled on the same kink twice in a row or something. I just wanted to verify that I wasn't going crazy. The next video I clicked on didn't do anything to quell my suspicions. While some girl was getting a very oily massage in a very not real looking doctor's office, sure enough, in the background, someone was there. This time though, they weren't trying to hide. The guy, a different one than the first video, was just standing there behind the woman as her back massage became much more intimate. Since he wasn't hiding, I could tell pretty quickly that he had no interest in the rhythmic backside massage in front of him. He was more interested in staring into the camera, staring at me. I felt unsettled, and once again I went to the comments. Nothing, just nonsense again. I felt insane. I went from video to video, but they were always there, just looking into the camera. Different categories, different websites, it didn't matter. My search for TNA had become an obscure deviation of B&E. There I was, pants still around my ankles when I decided I would just turn the shit off and move on with the night. Just forget about the whole thing when my big dumb finger accidentally hit another video instead of closing the site. Can this really happen? Can the mind really make you see stuff like this in such a specific platform? Shouldn't I be seeing these things in real life that weren't there? Shouldn't I be hearing voices or something? Can mental illness be contained in a platform like porn? How? How is no one talking about this? The video I clicked on, not a single comment was going to mention the woman in the background. If it was a fetish, it was a fucked up one. I knew one would be there as it loaded, but she wasn't just standing there. A thick rope held her suspended in the air by her neck, and while the two ladies in the front of her went down to town on each other, she just hung there, face going blue, eyes dripping red tears, eyes that still just stared into the camera. I had become so transfixed or confused or whatever that I hadn't even noticed the video went blank and another one had started to play. Is this some cult shit? Was there a sick joke I was left out on? How? How would this not be brought up? I can't be the only one seeing it. I would never come up with something like this. Why would my brain even manifest it? Have you ever watched someone go down on someone and as her head passes out of the frame, you can see a man standing in the background, pinned to the fucking wall. Long nails sticking out of his wrists and legs. A few metal spikes holding his head up so he can still look at you. Not the camera, he is looking at you. You can feel the gaze. Your brain is telling you that you're being hunted, but you can't look away. His blood, the blood had been seeping out of his wounds for however long, had frozen in time too, like some Pollock. Painted red stained the walls. One more. I needed to see one more video. I wanted to go back to the one where they were just hiding in the background. More than anything, I was afraid to shut it off and just be in the room all alone. This time, I picked a video I had seen before, back before all these people started showing up in the video. It almost took a moment to find it as I didn't remember the title exactly, but when I clicked on it and waited for the video to load, there was a nervous tremble in my fingers as I watched the circle rotate. It was taking longer than usual to load, so I travelled down to the comments quickly, but nothing out of the sorts was there. Then I heard a male's voice. This video had quite a lot of foreplay before anything started, so I scrolled up and was relieved to find that it was just a girl in her room laying on her bed. The camera operator, or actor, was talking to her, trying to conduct her out of her clothing, which she playfully denied. There was no one else in the room, not that I could see, and I felt a heavy breath finally escape me. I continued watching almost out of a sense of duty. I listened to him continue to try and convince her, to which she just stood up from her bed. I remember how the rest of it went. She walks into the living room where she is finally able to take her short shorts off. They do the deed on the couch, and then it's over with the glazing, as always. Still calming down, I watched as she started walking through the door and into the hallway as I saw her stop and turn to the camera. I couldn't recall that happening before. I thought it was just a smooth transition with a close-up on the short shorts. She stood there for a minute before the camera guy told her to keep going. It was almost like I was watching an outtake. But it continued, and the camera panned down to show the familiar shot of her waist and other such assets. The haul ended with the camera firmly on her firm behind. She started to round the corner and then she again stopped. I could see her legs start moving, like she was trying to back up, and when I heard her voice cracking as she repeated, "What the fuck?" Her legs stopped being the focus as the camera panned up to the living room couch that would be in the middle, only there was no couch, just a room filled shoulder to shoulder with people staring towards the cameraman. "Jesus Christ, run!" he shouted, and at that moment I finally saw the people in the background move. They all lurched forward almost in unison, and within moments the camera dropped to the floor. Screaming and sounds of struggle continued as feet moved past the camera until the video cut to black and I was left looking at my reflection on the phone screen. I sat there processing what I had just seen for God knows how long. I clicked on the video to start it around the middle where they reached the living room again and nervously hit play. Once again, she stopped and looked at the camera before continuing. But when she reached the living room, she continued walking into it. The camera followed her as she made her way to the couch and sat on it. The cameraman pulled back, and the last thing I could find the strength to watch was seeing the entire mob of people once again standing in the room as the actor paid no attention to them. It was like the video had just changed completely. I know what I saw. I know that she had seen them at the first time, I watched, there was no way I can imagine something like that, or anything involving these people. At least, I got a good look at the crowd in the living room this time. I recognized a lot of them. The man who was outside the window, the woman who was hanging, all the people I had seen were there, still as nails, all staring through the camera. And then I finally had enough and closed the website. I looked all over. It's not like I was able to sleep anyway. I even made an account on Pornhub. I didn't watch any more videos, but under several I left a comment. Does anyone else see the people in the background? I asked on other sites too, trying to find anyone else who might have witnessed the same thing, and while some people replied that they had, it was almost like they were playing along. Other people called me crazy, or that I was rambling and needed sleep. My heart was racing when I had thought about making my way to the living room. Slowly, I stepped through my hall and with tight breath, I rounded the corner to be met with a dark and empty room. Another relief of sigh escaped me. It could be nothing. Maybe I've grown too paranoid, but out of the balcony window, far off into the distance, I could see a figure in the field just standing there, hidden by the dark, facing my apartment. Has anyone else seen these people in porn? Or any video? I need someone to confirm I'm not insane. I need someone to tell me